As you can see from Compact,
The remnants of Webvan, one of the most
that they've disconnected
spectacular
from all their other
dot-com bombs,
sites
are being
are
sold
here.
off.
Look at all of the brand new hardware not used that nobody will buy from Compact because it's available now on auctions from DoveBid. Software, tons of software that was purchased, most of it probably not even used.
There's a glut of redundant computer equipment here in California's Silicon Valley. This equipment is for linking phones and computers hundreds of miles apart for teleconferences which will now never take place. $800 Aeron chairs were once coveted status symbols. The dot-com bust has turned top-of-the-range office of electronic equipment into relics of better times. They're waiting to be auctioned, a bargain for the next generation of entrepreneurs.
Sun Microsystems, one of the leaders in the economy, feeling the dot-coms.
Webvan was an online grocery delivery service. Its shares once topped $30. When it folded, 2,000 jobs went and $850 million. The shares were just 6 cents. The empty business parks and office buildings are evidence of the recession biting hard in the San Francisco area. From Silicon Valley in the south to Telecom Alley to the north, dot-com-related companies have been shutting down or cutting payrolls. Job losses have been mounting all year, but the pace has quickened after the September the 11th attacks, with some 15,000 jobs going in the Silicon Valley area since then. But some businesses are thriving in this harsh environment, among them an auction company run by the Dove family since 1937. Nowadays, DoveBid is a bricks and clicks company, a conventional business which also exploits the internet. It webcasts its auctions, especially when they're fire sales of dot-com disasters.
If we have an economy like today, where lots of companies are right-sizing, there's lots of available equipment. So DoveBid struggles in those kind of in-between times of indecision. If we have decisive companies, there's lots of business in an open market.
DoveBid employs 500 people with clients around the world attracted to its auctions either in person or via the internet.
Who's buying? There's everybody from Global 4,000 purchasing managers who are now saying, maybe I should take a hard look at whether I can buy this 6-month-old Cisco router rather than a new one, all the way down to entrepreneurial boutiques that are now self-funded, starting in garages and saying, you know, I can buy these Ergon chairs for $200 instead of $800. So there's this whole new group of people that are really coming into the marketplace and saying there is an opportunity to start something with less capital funding because of the abundance of assets available in today's market.
Almost 1 in 6 offices in San Francisco is empty, the highest rate for over a decade. For almost a year, struggling companies have been desperately shedding excess space and excess staff. Internet sites like Patty Barron's SF Girl offers advice to redundant dot-com workers.
Right now, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to even get a call back from a company. It's very difficult to get your resume even seen. People say the best way to find a position right now is to go through your contacts, you know, hopefully those that you made during the boom, the dot-com boom, and all the people everyone met at the networking events and the dot-com parties. Even contacting people you know, though, is difficult because a lot of the companies you contact, they say they're slimming back, they're not accepting resumes, so it's a hard time right now.
Sarah Baldorf knows just how hard it is finding work in the dot-com industry. She was seduced by the prospect of getting shares in her company and cashing them in as the stock market soared. But the shares dived and Sarah was laid off.
That was the water cooler talk, that was the talk around the town, that was everybody wanted to know where could I get hooked up with a company that I could have stock options, regardless of the traditional economic, points that you would normally look to a company and value a company. It wasn't the idea, it wasn't the concept, it was, are you a dot-com site and can you offer me stock options? And if you could offer me those things, then I was more than willing to work, 60, 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week, just for this mythical means to an end that now is probably not going to work out for many of these people.
It was a hard lesson for Sarah and other dot-com casualties, but she tries to be positive.
It's kind of like graduating from high school or being forced to graduate from high school unknowingly, unsuspectingly. And in a lot of ways, I think dot-coms were very much like a high school experience or a college experience. You know, there's a lot of time spent, and so there's a lot of friendship that, you know, friendship grows very quickly, and you're working your tail off for, you know, everyone had different motivations, but be it stock options or to grow the company or whatever it was. But yeah, so it's being forced to graduate unknowingly from a experience you were very tied to, being forced to leave. So it shakes you, you know.
Like thousands of other former dot-com employees, since the crash, Sarah Buldorf has had to try to come to terms with a severe change in circumstances. But at least she has a job as a babysitter for little Cooper. It isn't her first choice of profession, but it helps to pay the bills. However, she still has hopes that an upswing in the economy will one day allow her to return to her chosen career. Excite at Home is another recent high-profile dot-com disaster. It has left some wondering whether broadband communications have a viable future. Analysts say doomsayers shouldn't read too much into Excite at Home's bankruptcy. They believe there's still a future for high-speed internet delivery, which industry experts predict has a bright future. Bill Wynn has 6 startups under his belt. His latest company, 7 Networks, produces software for wireless carriers. He believes Silicon Valley has learned an important lesson.
It was an amazing place because we had all these people focused on building new technology, new services. Now as they leave California and they go back to different states and other parts of the world, they're going to bring an amazing amount of knowledge of technology and the internet, and I think that they're going to bring that to other businesses. And so my prediction has been that the next 5-10 years, post the internet boom, is going to be where you get the real value of the internet, not in the years between 1995 and 2000.
Against a background of continuing internet failures, Bill Wynn's optimism may look unfounded. But according to the state of California's Technology Advisory Board, the desert of empty offices left by the bust has left Silicon Valley fighting fit. A little leaner, but in a better state of health for all the change.
With email and other technologies, and they were proliferated because of the internet. Remember, email wasn't that big of a thing before the internet came along and made it a lot easier for these systems to connect together. That opened up the way that people communicate with one another. That's the fundamental, significant impact of the internet. In addition to that, it made information much more accessible. So business intelligence changes dramatically now. People can get access to information much more readily than it could before. That means competition is going to be more aggressive. That means innovation is going to be better.
1 million bottles of wine in this warehouse are evidence of the painful hangover left behind when the high life of Silicon Valley was turned sour by harsh economics. The wine was purchased at the height of internet mania. The Chardonnays, Merlots and Cabernet Sauvignons were left on the shelf by the collapse of wine.com. In the end, the 83,000 cases became part of an attempt to win a place in the Guinness Book of Records as the world's biggest wine auction. The auctioneer rattled through the 4,500 lots. Soon the bottles were going, gone, much like the failed dot-coms that created such excess.